Yo, what's up guys? We are playing against Aftermath EU, which is the Legend Guild in World Guild Battle. And by a pretty substantial margin in there. They have about 300 points over the number 2 and number 3, and those people even have more than 300 points on the number 4 and number 5. How do they do that? Do they have the most insane amount of defenses out there? Well, if we actually check the defense logs, most of them, well, they do tend to reset their defenses from time to time. But as you can see, those numbers are not necessarily, well, this is actually a pretty good rate over there, 11 on 32. But they're not necessarily seeing anything like super crazy on like insane amount of defense successes or anything like that. Sure, they overall have a bit better numbers, but their defenses aren't super crazy. I think they're still definitely one of the better ones out there, especially for the traps, and they're really good with that. But that also does mean that there's something else to getting this insane amount of gap over the number 2 and number 3. That is by having insane good offenses. And that's also something that I think a lot of people do overlook. They're just like, oh, my arena's not doing well, I need a better defense. Oh, my siege is not doing well, I need a better defense. No, actually not really. You can influence offense a lot more than you can influence defense. And therefore, you should also be focusing a lot more on offense rather than on defense. I think people are overlooking too much or looking too much at, oh, let's improve my defense. Oh, I need like a Tian Lang or a Gazelle or whatever for arena defense, and then I can get Guardian 3. No, how about you focus on getting a really good offense? That often does help you a lot more. So let's see if we can make the best amount of offenses against this guild over here. I did find a nice target with a lot of LDs with Malignant over here. Also one of the players of the Summoners War European League earlier this year. And there's a lot of LDs in this. So let's see if we can create some really good offenses that pretty much cannot lose. Let's just show all of the runes right here. So this is going to be the Maxi team. Then the Federica team is going to be looking like this. Then we do have the Sonia team over here, and it's going to be a double kill for that Odin, and then a Bruiser Fright from there. Most of the time, this thing is somewhat more of a damage build too, but I think we can manage that. Then we have the Feng Yang over here, which is a different style with the Alaya and the same in there, mainly for the protection against that. And then the bottom team, I think that everything will focus the Miho, and maybe from there we can actually make it work that double water units. We'll clean up from there. If he's really slow and he is on will runes, I might be a little bit on issues right there. Might have been a little bit better to go for somewhat of a slower team, but let's see how that works out. So first thing, we do outspeed. Could be high on the resistance. I do have extra accuracy on right side artifacts, but do tend to land most of it except for the pushback. But we do get a good land over there. Do get a good hit over here, and that's an insta clear right there. Let's see. So he does have full will runes. I think I'll go for the first hit over there. He goes for that skill. If he's Fire, he could S3, S2. He definitely will go for the hit on that. He does go S3, S1 in this case. Tricky. Yeah, that's always the thing with the Loras. You never really know what kind of build they're on. So let's go for this hit over there. Yep, we clear. It does have the defense buff right now, but I think we might still be able to do... Oh, no, that's actually not enough damage. That's kind of bad. That's kind of bad. Okay, it does have the skill too. Did not manage to stun everything. I do also put the Leo on Vampire for this reason, where I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be able to kill everything right there. But yeah, the Carlos just kind of does work out pretty well. If he went for an S2, S3, or an S3, S2, would have been pretty bad. Laura's still doing Laura things. So yeah, that's always a dangerous thing. Like, if you do know what kind of build it is, it's super easy to outspeed. But if you don't know that, it can definitely be a tricky thing. And this Laura likes to take the additional turns. So let's see what we have over here. Could be a Odin that is a defense trap, but I have a lot of attack increasing effects on the both sides artifacts for this thing. So it's somewhat unlikely for that to happen. So we clear this out. Right now, it is going to be the big question. Are you high on damage? It is critting most of the hits, so it is a little bit higher on damage. Also, I would have to focus down the Chandra first, because the Chandra does provide the hug every time. In this case, do I go for... No, let's actually prolong the skills. Okay, it does go for that skill. That is fine. Also, the Chandra cannot go for the Sonia, which is pretty good, because technically it would be best if it would be focusing the Sonia as of first. Okay, these hits on the side units, I really don't mind that much. This will give me a little bit. Since it is slowed right now, I can go for that hit. Without the slow, it might have not been the highest amount of damage. He's definitely doing a good amount of damage to me. I think I'd rather go for this, because if you kill this right now, it is a little bit annoying, but it's not the worst of things out there. Because the Sonya still survives, and then the Sonya could go for a hit later on. One more turn away, then we get the Sonya in. He does go, wait, did he? Oh no, wait, he just did a random hit over there. So that's the third victory over there. What do we have over here? Okay, this team is definitely pretty fast. Does manage to get a stun on the whole team. But since he has the rotation going like this, there's no armor break follow-up unless he goes for an additional turn right now. Does get the additional turn, gets it twice. Okay, I guess that's... If you're the number one guild, you get a little bit of RNG improvement or something as well. That maybe helps out a little bit. Let's just go for the boost on this. Do remove the death break. That's really good. Can I get a random stun? Nope. Does get a random hit on you. That's still fine. I'd rather have random hits on you altogether. That's totally fine. Do I rather kill you first or you first? I think we're going to kill you first, because if something does get the... invisibility, you are the first one to shake off the invisibility, so that's really good. And them hitting Seimei, I really don't mind that much. So okay, does get the invisibility back again. Not too bad, not too bad. He doesn't have any form of sustain except for the invisibility. That's also why Seimei strip skill 1 comes in very clutch. Do have a nice hit over there, and that's taking one out, and if we take one out, then we definitely win. Seimei is absolutely a cheat code against Giselle. Like, 2-turn invisibility against Giselle is always very annoying to deal with. If it's just 1-turn invisibility, it is very doable to clear it out. But once again, definitely an interesting team. Does need 2 LDs to have the whole team up and running though. But yeah, definitely interesting styles of also seeing like, okay, what is a fast team, what is a slow team, and those kind of things. And that's the main thing that you can play a lot around with in World Guild Battle, because some things are like definitely obvious things that are fast, but you could make them slow, or other way around, which is definitely an interesting thing. And I think that Aftermath EU in general is doing a very good job at having those kind of trap defense, like, oh, everyone is expecting the Laura to be swift. Let me put it on Vio. Or this team, for example, people expect it to be swift, but then you put it on Vio. So that's... Or the other way around. There's a lot of options that you could go for trapping back and forth. Okay, so we do have that hit going in over there. Who's the first target to actually clear? Also, I do notice that I'm faster than 2 of the units, which is not really a good thing. So the only thing we can actually do is just this. I'm pretty sure you don't have a strip, right? But in the end, the 2 units will always focus this. As long as they're all critting, I'm still kind of in the Gucci. And that's the thing about the Dark Demon. Dark Demon is very likely to waste its skill, and therefore the unit is just really bad. So it will come back right now with the hit at some point. It does come back, and it just goes for a skill 1 because it already did do the skill 2 plus Miho. And that's also something you can definitely play around with. Sometimes it's like, oh, there's a lot of defenses, like LDs, crazy stuff out there, and it might look very scary. But in the end, this was actually the weakest defense, and just by finding an old unit, as in that Mio. Once again, focusing on your offenses is so much more important than focusing on your defenses. Because if you craft a great offense, something that looks very strong on LDs or whatever, suddenly gets really weak. Okay, I found a decent more of LDs over here at this team, which is definitely an interesting one too. We've got 3 LDs over there, Dark Gojo, Fermion. This one doesn't have any, and then a... what's it called? A Shun. So let's see what we can find against those teams. Then these are the teams for the second round. So first round is going to be... I'm not sure if this thing is on Swift, but it could be a thing. Second one is actually more of an RTA kind of team than anything else. Would not really recommend this for Siege in normal case, but I kind of wanted to give that a try, where you get an AoE hit from this thing, and then you start moving and you stun that. It's kind of an idea. Then we have the typical Ian team on the, what is that, 4th round, 3rd round. Then we have a hit over here, which is just the Sonya team once again. I just tend to use this all the time. It's just super good. And then on the bottom one, it's more of a team of, I just want to make sure that I survive. And then 2 out of 3 units are most likely good enough to kill the enemy. That is going to be the game plan. Is that really going to work out? I do think so, but it could be a little bit tricky if mainly Amber dies. Maybe I should have been putting a Bludja or something like that in there. But then again, always for the first round, I'm reruning a lot. For the second round, I'm getting more lazy. Same as everyone else. So in this case, it is actually not any kind of way. I do outspeed the whole team regardless. So would I still S3? Yeah, I still S3 just to get the Tiana into a little bit more attack bar. So the Tiana has more chance for doing it later. I could have wasted a stack, but then again, I'm hitting full heal block anyway, so doesn't really matter. Not entirely sure what this defense was supposed to do, but this look interesting. So, okay, in this case, I'm actually faster than him. What do we want to do for that case? So I think I'm going to go for you and then go for you. So with that, we can go for an S2 into an S2, and we can right away go for an increased cooltime over there. And then I think we go for a stun on the one side over the right. Okay, we did not get that stunned. We did get an armor break, and then we just additional turn as much as the Laura. But in the end, that didn't really work out for the part that I wanted to do in the end. Okay, let's see how much damage we do. We also additional turn. That does kind of hurt. That's definitely painful right there. Okay, let's get in. That was the passive proc at first. Let's get in this hit. We don't remove that. That's kind of bad. Do we kill you first or you first? I think we kill you first. I think we would do a good amount of damage on that. We do a good amount of damage on that. And then he goes for that skill, which is a little bit annoying. If we get back your skills faster, then okay, does get the additional turns. That's definitely the risky thing about going for any kind of fight that looks more of an RTA fight. Because the moment you get some resistance in and those kind of things, it does tend to get a lot more tricky. Which we do actually tend to see right here, right now as well. I don't want to give you the skills because then you would have an attack buff hit later on. Okay, we do have... that hurts, that hurts. Can we stun you? Thank you for that stun. Stop additional turning. Stop additional... What the hell was that? Okay, I guess we're gonna die over here. Anytime soon. Can we get wrong element stun? Apparently not. He's gonna go into his skills in a second. Yep, okay, we're gonna die to this thing, just taking too many additional turns. And yeah, that's, ladies and gentlemen, why you don't want to do a fight on a bruiser fight, because then you're just fighting the additional turn fight, and fighting the additional turn fight... Oh, now you start stunning when it's way too late. Yeah, fighting the additional turn fight is mostly not something you want to do in Siege. That's just what we notice once again. So yeah, RTA fights in Siege, high end, nope, no bueno, no good, don't recommend to go for it. You want to go for these kind of teams, where you just outspeed the whole thing, and then you just instantly clear a bunch of stuff. Would I have been able to clear something on the previous team? Well, I would have been able to one-shot the Gojo for sure, and then maybe just do like a 3 against 4 from that point on. I think that would have probably been a better choice at it altogether, because in the end, well, you never know if the more is swift, and that's also the thing. Always try to keep something in a defense, which could be kind of a trap. Like the more could be swift, something over here could be swift. Right now, this team is actually super slow, which could be dangerous for the Sierra kind of thing. Nope, Sierra's also not high enough on tankiness. It was Despair actually, but yeah, there's definitely like the things that could be something like, oh, could be this, could be that. And those are mostly the best defenses out there. Defenses that could be a little bit of everything. But then again, I had to have too much fun or weird shit in that second round. Okay, then let's see what we do have over here. So I do outspeed. I do miss. I do land on that one. I stun on the right, which is pretty good. Do I get a second turn? I don't get a second turn. And he does stun a little bit more than mine did earlier on. I can spread the stun. I can spread more debuffs. Let's actually spread more debuffs, because that normally pushes back, but not in this case, apparently. Okay, at least, well, I guess that it kind of helps where you just get extra additional turns all the time. But I think we should still be good to go with this team. But the additional turns sure do help a little bit more. Well, at least I can get a few too. But yeah, that is pretty much how it is for the Siege as of right now. Or not the Siege, for the World Guild Battle. They definitely do have a few interesting defenses throughout. That's definitely always interesting to see what kind of defenses they do go for. A lot of them is just standard meta stuff, but it's also a bunch of them out there where things you don't normally see too much. Abusing their LDs, which you normally don't see all too much in Siege defense. And once again, creative defense. But the main thing that they're insanely good at, and let's see if they did already hit us. Yeah, all of those guys like 10-0, 10-0, actually one lose. Okay, more losers than expected. They actually have a few people with some losers in there already. Most of the time, it's like the whole list, everything is like 10-0, and that's why they're doing so much better than any of the other guilds. But I do think they do know which other guilds are more try-hard on World Guild Battle as well than some other guilds. Because that way you do kind of keep track of it, like, hey, where do we have to try hard more, where do we have to try hard less? And it's also kind of a thing. Most guilds don't really care that much about World Guild Battle because the rewards for getting a legend is the same rewards as getting Guardian. And there's no reset. There's actually no chance for any of the guilds to ever catch up to legend. So World Guild Battle is kind of a like, lost behind content. But maybe something in the future that might get more traction, more interesting. Who knows? Either out. Hope you did enjoy this video and see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.